Let's be honest, you were lied to. They sold you a dream, polished, motivational, picture perfect. You've seen it in every fitness video, every glossy ad, every influencer post with a caption that says, "Discipline is all you need." But nobody told you that behind that discipline lies a chemical contract with the devil. Bodybuilding used to be about strength, about pain, sweat, and self-conquest. It was about proving that a human being could carve himself out of nothing through sheer willpower. But today, when you open any fitness account, you don't see the journey, you see the result. Perfect physiques under perfect lighting, and always one word in the bio, natural. And you believe it. Because you want to believe it. Because if they could do it, maybe you can too. So you start training, you track calories, watch motivational clips, follow every plan the pros share. Weeks go by, months. You push harder, you eat cleaner, you do everything right. And yet the mirror still shows the same tired face, staring back at you. And somewhere deep inside, something cracks. Why don't I look like them? Because they never told you the truth. In an industry ruled by views and sponsorships, honesty is the one thing no one can afford. Every influencer, every fitness guru builds their image not just on iron and effort, but on insulin, hormones, and whatever else they can inject without getting caught. And it's all sold to you as inspiration. But it's not inspiration, it's illusion, perfectly lit and heavily filtered. You look at these people and think you're seeing the peak of human potential. You're not. You're seeing a biochemical project powered by fear, the fear of losing relevance, sponsorships, and fame. Their lives revolve around needles and mirrors, chasing a perfection that's killing them from the inside out. What's worse is that the industry doesn't just know about it, it depends on it. Every ad, every transformation story, every motivational post hides the same dark truth. The modern fitness world runs on lies and liver toxicity. And every time you look up to these people, every time you buy into their promise, you feed the machine that's destroying them, and you. This isn't motivation, brother. This isn't discipline. It's an illusion pumped full of drugs, wrapped in lighting, and sold as a dream. Once, things were different. Not perfect, not pure, but real. Back in the old days, nobody in the gym bragged about chemistry. Not because it didn't exist, but because it wasn't the point. Back then, iron defined the man, not the medicine. What mattered was pain, consistency, and the willingness to suffer for a body no one else would ever fully see. It wasn't for likes or sponsorships. It was for pride, for silence, for the mirror at midnight when no one was watching. There were no filters, no brand deals, no glossy expos. Just sweat on cold floors and the sound of plates crashing together. You earned respect by what you lifted, not by how many followers you had. The gym was a temple, and effort was the only prayer that mattered. But the moment cameras entered the gym, everything started to rot. When brands realized how much attention a sculpted body could sell, bodybuilding stopped being a discipline. It became a product. The hunger to be better was replaced by the hunger to look better. Image started to matter more than strength, and appearance became the new religion. At first, drugs crept in quietly, whispers in locker rooms. A little boost, they'd say, just to get over the plateau. Nobody talked openly, but everyone knew who was on. It wasn't pride, it was survival. Then, slowly, shame died. The bigger the muscles got, the smaller the truth became. And once sponsors and money entered the picture, the transformation was complete. Steroids weren't taboo anymore. They were marketing tools. The audience didn't want reality. They wanted gods. And the industry gave them exactly that. It started rewarding size over soul, spectacle over struggle. The new ideal wasn't about balance or artistry. It was about extremity. The freakier, the better. And here's the irony. The same fans who claim to miss the old school are the ones who made this monster possible. They fed the demand for bigger, harder, leaner. They turned a sport built on pain and pride into a freak show of survival and self-destruction. What once symbolized human willpower became a contest of chemistry. That was the turning point, the moment bodybuilding stopped being a story of strength and became a story of lies. What used to be earned through years of blood and discipline could now be bought in a bottle. And the saddest part? Everyone clapped. Because nobody wanted to know how the magic worked, only that it did. There was a time when using gear meant crossing a line. You whispered about it, hid it, denied it. But now, it's just part of the conversation. Not a secret, not a scandal. Just another checkbox on the checklist of success. What used to be dangerous became normalized, then glorified. The dark side didn't disappear, it just got better lighting. Today, everyone knows. Every coach, every judge, every fitness icon. Nobody's naive, but they all play their role in the same unspoken pact. Don't ask, don't tell, don't ruin the illusion. The athlete pretends it's hard work alone, the sponsor pretends to believe it, and the audience pretends to be inspired. That's the ecosystem now, a loop of lies where honesty is the only thing that doesn't fit the brand. The language even changed. Steroids aren't called steroids anymore. They're supplements, enhancers, cycles. It sounds clean, professional, manageable. There's a guide for every stage: how to start, how to cruise, how to stay safe. And that's how the game sold self-destruction as optimization. The truth became so dressed up, it started looking like discipline. But the human body doesn't care about rebranding. Every shot, every pill, every chemical shortcut burns a little deeper. At first, you think you're in control. Then one day, you realize the mirror's controlling you. You don't train to feel better. You train to justify the risk. You don't rest. You recover just enough to inject again. You don't stop, because stopping means shrinking, fading, being forgotten. And that's the trap. The fear of becoming ordinary became stronger than the fear of dying. That's why guys keep pushing the dosage, ignoring the blood work, laughing at danger. Because in this new version of bodybuilding, moderation is failure. Everyone's doing it became the mantra, and when everyone's doing it, it doesn't feel wrong anymore. It feels required. The industry didn't just adapt, it evolved. It built a system where the freakier you get, the more valuable you become, where the same toxicity that ruins you makes you famous. And the fans cheer it on. They don't want health. They want spectacle. They want to see monsters, because monsters get clicks. So the lie keeps breathing, wrapped in motivational music and lighting, sold as hard work and discipline. But the truth is simpler. Chemistry isn't the exception anymore. It's the rule. It's not the shadow of bodybuilding. It's the bloodstream of it. And pretending otherwise doesn't make it less real. It just makes it deadlier. The fitness industry learned a long time ago that truth doesn't sell. Fantasy does. Reality is too slow, too painful, too human. What sells is the shortcut, the dream that you can have it all if you just stay consistent. Every supplement, every training program, every perfectly edited transformation video is built on that single lie. Behind every smiling, natural athlete stands a warehouse of sponsors, praying you never ask the right questions. Everything you see is a commercial. The physiques, the lighting, the speeches about hard work. It's all part of the pitch. They don't want you to see the blood work, the prescriptions, the panic attacks, or the nights when their heart skips a beat after another injection. They want you to believe this is health, that this is what success looks like. Because as long as you're chasing that image, you'll keep buying what they're selling. It's a cycle as old as marketing itself. First, they sell you an ideal. Then they sell you the tools to chase it. Then they sell you guilt for not catching it fast enough. You're never supposed to arrive, just to spend. Every failure becomes another opportunity to buy something better. A new supplement, a new program, a new secret. And the influencers, the modern saints of fitness, stand on their digital pulpits and preach the gospel of consistency while hiding the syringes behind their backs. The irony is cruel. These same people who tell you to love the process can't even live without chemicals keeping them inflated. They're terrified of losing fullness, of watching the likes drop when the muscles do. Their bodies aren't temples. They're billboards. Their pain isn't a warning. It's marketing material. And the sponsors? They know exactly what's happening. But honesty doesn't move product. Hope does. They'll put a natural label on a dream built entirely on drugs, and you'll still click Add to Cart. Because deep down, everyone wants to believe that maybe this time it'll work, that maybe you can beat biology without breaking yourself. The result is an ecosystem of denial. The fans keep pretending it's real, the athletes keep pretending they're clean, and the companies keep counting the money. The word fitness has become a disguise for self-destruction, a billion-dollar business built on insecurity, vanity, and pharmaceutical engineering. So when you scroll through your feed and see another motivational post with perfect lighting and a perfect smile, remember this: it's not motivation, it's marketing. And behind every inspiration is a product waiting to be sold. Every industry hides its casualties, but bodybuilding buries them in plain sight, smiling, shredded, and dying slowly under the spotlight. Every year, another name fades from the scene, another freak of nature gone too soon. Cardiac arrest, kidney failure, liver collapse. They call it a tragedy, then move on. But these aren't accidents. This is the cost of the game, the silent toll of a system that rewards destruction and calls it discipline. Nobody wants to talk about it because admitting it would collapse the fantasy. The magazines, the expos, the supplement companies, they can't afford the truth. It's bad for business. They'd rather post a rest in peace than ask what went wrong, because what went wrong is everything. The doses got higher, the prep got harsher, the pressure got unbearable, and nobody stopped to question where the line was, because there is no line left. The reality is brutal. Your hormones stop producing naturally. Your organs fight to keep up. Your mind starts breaking long before your body does. Anxiety, insomnia, depression, the so-called side effects that become lifestyles. You live in cycles: inject, train, deplete, recover, repeat. You're never off. Even off-season means you're just taking a different poison. Every blood test is a game of Russian roulette, and the house always wins. What makes it worse is the denial, the constant mantra of, "I'm fine, I know what I'm doing, it's under control." They're not lying to you. They're lying to themselves, because the alternative is unbearable. To admit that the thing that defines them is also killing them. To admit that the body they built as proof of strength is proof of addiction. And yet the crowd keeps cheering. They don't see the pain, the exhaustion, the panic when the chest tightens backstage. They only see the shine, the tan, the impossible physique. They see gods. But these gods bleed like everyone else. They just do it in silence. There's no insurance policy for this, no safety net. When the body finally breaks, the sponsors vanish, the followers move on, and the community finds a new idol to worship. The machine keeps running, always hungry, always needing another sacrifice. That's the real price of modern bodybuilding. It's not the hours in the gym or the money spent on food. It's the years stolen from your life in exchange for 15 minutes of applause, a trade so many are willing to make because nobody ever told them what it truly costs. Denial is the fuel that keeps modern bodybuilding alive. Without it, the whole illusion would collapse overnight. Every athlete knows the risk. Every doctor's warning, every blood panel, every sleepless night is a reminder that something is wrong. But instead of stopping, they double down, because stopping means shrinking. And shrinking in this world means dying before you're dead. It starts small. I'll just run one more cycle. I'll lower the dose next time. I'm monitoring everything. Lies disguised as control. They tell themselves they're being smart, that they've figured out a way to cheat biology without paying the price. But you can't bargain with chemistry. Every shot rewrites the body's code. Every pill is a silent withdrawal from a bank account that doesn't refill. And the cruelest part? The body adapts. What once made you feel invincible now barely keeps you afloat. So you chase that high again. More doses, more compounds, more risk. It's not about building muscle anymore. It's about maintaining the illusion that you're still in control. You're not training for progress. You're training for survival. The survival of an image that's consuming you from the inside. This denial doesn't just live in the athletes. It infects the entire culture. Coaches push safe cycles. Fans worship physiques that could never exist naturally. Comment sections explode with arguments over who's natty, as if it even matters anymore. Everyone knows, but nobody admits it, because admitting it would mean facing the truth that the dream is broken, that the golden image we grew up idolizing has rotted from within. Behind the cameras, there's fear. Fear of aging, fear of fading, fear of becoming ordinary again. These guys aren't chasing greatness. They're running from irrelevance. They've built identities so tied to their bodies that losing size feels like losing existence. And that's the trap the industry set so perfectly, convincing men that their worth lives in the mirror. The mental toll is worse than the physical. Paranoia, depression, emotional collapse. When your body is chemically hijacked, so is your mind. You can't feel joy without the pump. You can't feel peace without the shot. And eventually, you can't feel anything at all. Just the next workout, the next dose, the next lie you tell yourself to make it through another day. This is the quiet tragedy of bodybuilding. It's not about the drugs, not really. It's about the denial that became a culture, a brotherhood built not on strength, but on shared self-destruction. And the deeper they sink, the louder they scream about discipline. Because the louder the lie, the easier it is to drown out the truth. Bodybuilding used to be about form, about mastery, about turning pain into something almost sacred. But somewhere along the way, it became a numbers game. Weight, dosage, calories, followers. The soul got lost somewhere between the syringe and the spreadsheet. Every lifter, every coach, every fan started measuring worth by metrics, not mindset. The discipline that once defined greatness got replaced by obsession with digits that don't mean anything once you're gone. How many grams are you on? What's your weight in the off-season? How much do you bench? How many followers did you gain this month? These questions became the language of modern strength. The heavier the stack, the higher the praise. The bigger the dose, the louder the applause. Nobody asks about health, about longevity, about what happens when the stage lights go off. Because in this culture, numbers are louder than truth. It's not just the athletes. The audience feeds it. They don't want to see balance. They want extremes. They want veins splitting through skin, bodies that look like they were forged in pain. And the industry listens. It always listens. Every view, every like, every click on a thumbnail of an oiled-up monster tells the companies exactly what sells. And so the cycle tightens. More drugs, more mass, more profit. The irony is brutal. The more they chase those numbers, the more they lose the thing that got them there, purpose. You can see it in their eyes, even when they're smiling on stage. There's no pride anymore, only pressure. Every record set today becomes a prison tomorrow. You can't stop. You can't slow down. You can't shrink. Because someone younger, hungrier, and more reckless is right behind you, ready to outdo your insanity. Even off stage, the obsession doesn't stop. The scale becomes a judge. The mirror becomes a scoreboard. You weigh your food, your progress, your self-worth. Every day, you're either up or down. Never enough. Never free. The cult of numbers doesn't care who you are. It only cares what you can produce. And when you can't produce anymore, it moves on to the next name, the next body, the next story to chew up and spit out. That's the quiet death inside modern bodybuilding. The sport that once built men now breaks them, turning them into statistics in their own obsession. Numbers became gods, and sacrifice became worship. You don't lift to feel alive anymore. You lift to keep the numbers from falling. Because in this culture, if they fall, you do too. Silence. That's the soundtrack of modern bodybuilding. Not the clang of iron, not the roar of the crowd, but the deliberate, careful quiet of an industry built on denial. Everyone knows what's happening. The athletes, the coaches, the sponsors, even the federations. But they all keep their mouths shut because truth doesn't sell. Truth kills the brand, and the brand is everything. Every major name in fitness has a PR script now. Polished words, fake humility, rehearsed vulnerability. I just love the grind. I've always been natural. It's all about mindset. They play the role so well, you almost forget they're actors. They stand on stage, covered in oil and pain, and smile for the cameras while their blood pressure spikes and their organs beg for mercy. The crowd cheers, the judges nod, the sponsors sign another check. The machine keeps running, humming quietly under the weight of its own hypocrisy. The federations pretend to test, the companies pretend to care, and the athletes pretend they're fine. Everyone plays their part in the illusion. Even death doesn't break the silence anymore. A quick Instagram post, a black and white photo, a few crying emojis, and then back to business. New content, new campaigns. The show must go on. It's not ignorance, it's strategy. Every company knows that if the audience ever saw the full truth, the collapsed lungs, the heart attacks, the ruined bodies behind the filters, the fantasy would shatter. So they smother it under layers of marketing. Hard work, discipline, no excuses. These phrases aren't motivation anymore. They're camouflage. They're the slogans that keep you buying into a system that's slowly killing the people it celebrates. Even the media plays along. They'll do tribute videos and inspiring documentaries about fallen athletes, but never ask the real question: why are so many dying so young? Because that question has an answer nobody wants to hear, and no one can afford to tell. The truth is that the silence isn't just protection, it's profit. As long as the lie lives, the money flows. The expos stay packed, the supplement shelves stay full, the influencers stay motivational. The industry feeds on admiration and ignorance, and it will never stop as long as people keep applauding the illusion. That's why the silence is so dangerous. It's not empty, it's deliberate. It's the sound of complicity, the sound of people choosing comfort over conscience. And in that silence, real men are dying, one injection, one fake smile, one lie at a time. Strength. That word used to mean something. It used to stand for discipline, resilience, and self-respect. But somewhere along the way, it was twisted into something darker. Now, strength isn't about overcoming pain. It's about hiding it. It's not about building yourself up. It's about pretending you're unbreakable while you fall apart inside. Modern bodybuilding turned strength into theater, a costume you wear until it consumes you. Behind every photo, every flex, every fake smile, there's fear. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of losing size, relevance, and validation. These men don't chase greatness anymore. They run from decay. The barbell used to be their therapy. Now it's their chain. They're prisoners of an image they built and can't escape. And every time they step on stage, they're not proving they're strong. They're proving they're still standing. What nobody tells you is that real strength doesn't scream. It doesn't need approval. It's not something you post. It's something you carry. But the industry can't sell that. You can't monetize quiet strength, so they sell the opposite: loud desperation, disguised as inspiration. They make you believe that pain equals purpose, that suffering means success, that sacrificing yourself is noble, and that lie has built empires. Look at the eyes of the pros. Past the tan, the lighting, the confidence, look deeper. You'll see it. The emptiness, the exhaustion, the quiet realization that the dream they built their lives around isn't a dream anymore. It's a cage. Their bodies became monuments to insecurity, their minds battlegrounds between ambition and collapse. The alpha male image they project is nothing more than armor made of fear. The other side of strength isn't glory, it's loneliness. It's the silence after the crowd stops cheering. It's the moment when the pump fades, the adrenaline dies, and you're left staring at yourself asking, was it worth it? Most won't admit the answer, but it's there, written in every scar, every tremor, every scarred vein that once carried ambition, and now carries regret. True strength isn't found under a barbell or inside a syringe. It's found in the courage to walk away, to train because you love it, not because you need to prove something, to accept imperfection and still move forward. But that kind of strength doesn't trend. It doesn't sell supplements. It doesn't fill expos, because real strength can't be bought. It can't be injected. It can only be lived. And that's the one thing this industry forgot. Eventually, it all stops. The cycles end. The body gives out. The blood work becomes a warning you can't ignore anymore. The trophies start collecting dust, and the crowd moves on to the next monster, the next freak, the next genetic miracle. And you're left alone, staring at the same mirror that once made you feel invincible, now showing you a stranger, smaller, softer, human again. That's when the real question hits. What's left when the chemistry fades? For some, it's nothing. Because the drugs didn't just build their bodies, they built their identities. When the muscles shrink, so does the purpose. The same people who were gods on stage become ghosts off it. They scroll through old photos, chase that old fullness, whisper to themselves that maybe one more cycle could bring it back. But it never does. The magic doesn't return. Only the debt does, and the body always collects. Without the constant chemical rush, everything feels slow, heavy, quiet. The highs are gone, the pump is gone, the attention is gone. You're left with the silence, the kind that forces you to face what you've been avoiding for years. You realize that the strength you thought you had was borrowed, that the discipline you preached was dependency, that the power you built came with a price you can't refund. Some men never escape that crash. They fade quietly, consumed by the void they tried to fill with validation. Others rebuild, slowly, painfully. They start to find a different kind of power, not the one in their arms, but the one in their decisions. The power to walk into a gym with no audience, to train without filming it, to be proud without performing. That's the resurrection few ever talk about, because it doesn't sell. But it's the only part of this story that's real. And that's the truth, brother. When the lights go out, when the sponsors disappear, when the chemistry finally fades, all that's left is you. The real you. Not the inflated version, not the mask, not the myth. Just the man who once loved lifting for what it gave him, not what it cost him. And if you can still walk into that empty gym, grip the cold steel, and feel peace instead of pressure, then you've won. Because that's what bodybuilding was supposed to be. Not an addiction, not a lie, not a slow death dressed as greatness. Just you, the weight, and the truth that was buried under it all.